morning, followers. So today's adventure is a little bit different. We're kind of all over the place here in southwest Kansas. So we went north from where we're staying. And our first stop is the Keystone Gallery. So let's go explore. He's fantastic. Whoever made him is awesome. The building the Keystone Gallery is in was a church from 1917 to 1953. It was purchased by the current owners and opened in 1991 as a gallery. The owner is both an artist and an amateur fossil hunter. His art is for sale in his gallery, but I did gloss over it in this video as he requested no direct images of his artwork appear in the video. Kansas was once part of an inland sea during the Cretaceous period. A ridiculous number of aquatic predators swam in these warm waters. One of these predators that is represented in fossil form at the Keystone Gallery is a 20-foot mosasaur. This skeleton is fantastic. Fossil is fantastic. In all honesty though, the bony fish are freaky too, but cool. This gallery is centrally located from Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park, Scott Lake State Park, Monument Rocks, and Scott City. Each location is about 15 to 30 minutes away driving in various directions. There are fees for the state parks. Monument Rocks is free to visit, but it is on private land. So the public is welcome to visit, just make sure you're respectful when visiting any and all of these sites. If you're interested in visiting this fossil and art gallery, make sure to call and check that they're open. We visit in winter when their hours are a bit more flexible than they are in the summer. During the summer, most of the time they are open all the time. I will make sure to link their website in the description. This is a fun stop that I definitely suggest making if you're in western Kansas. Look at those teeth! I wouldn't want to be this guy's dinner, that's for sure. Alright, I hope you guys can hear me. The Kansas wind is doing Kansas wind things. We are here at historic Scott Lake State Park in Kansas, and we are here in particular to see the El Cuartelejo Pueblo ruins, and I really hope I'm saying that correctly. So, let's go see some ruins. The land is very quiet this time of year. There's not a whole lot of people out here, but it's pretty in its own way. I have decided something about Kansas. There's lots of really cool stuff here, but everything is down into a hole. Kansas might be flat, and then you drop down into something really cool. Like this. This is Scott Lake State Park, and we have dropped down into a hole. Everything, the whole world is up there. But all the cool stuff is down here. Alright, so we went to the El Cuartelejo site at the historic Scott Lake State Park, and now we're here at the museum. So I'll see if I can record inside, and we'll go from there. Okay, the El Cuartelejo Museum is not just the history of the Pueblo people, although it does share that name. This museum is history of the prehistoric and some of the more recent history. Check out all of these wonderful fossils. And then up here, we've got bones of mammoths and bison and camel and rhinoceros. They have been fossilized, but they're definitely not quite as old as the fish and dinosaur skeletons. Representation of the people of the plains. Mostly here was the Apache, but there were other tribes. Here's a representation of Native American art that were actually made by people of Native American culture. This is a representation of what the El Cuartelejo site might have looked like when it was in one piece. There were no doors, everything, all entrances were from the roof. And here are some, I think these are, some of it's authentic pottery, some of it is a recreation of what it would have looked like. And then this here is what the inside of the Pueblo house might have looked like, complete with a hole in the roof. This is a reproduction. Seriously, this museum has some cool stuff. A little bit further along, we learn about the Battle of the Punishment Fort, which was one of the last battles in Kansas between Native Americans and the U.S. Sod houses, anyone? I actually had family members that were born in sod houses many generations ago. And here is the founder of Scott City, Marie Elizabeth de Greer. We've got the trains. There were multiple lines that ran through Scott City. The blacksmith shop. And some of the tools of the trade. Old school photos, chuck wagon, some more recent things. Anyway, this museum has a lot. It talks about the whole history of the region. Let's see. Those are wagon parts or harness parts for livestock. Saddles. There's a whole wall of barbed wire back there. I'll take you guys for a closer look here in a minute. Guns. Music. And here's some arrowheads. Okay, here's some more local and donated stuff. An optometrist chair, a cash register, sewing machine. There's a cool directory. Let's see. And then look at all these different types of barbed wire. A lot of the museums around do have similar collections, but that does not make it any less interesting. Here is the farm equipment room, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Old school chairs. I think that's a sewing machine cover. Desks and parking meters. Whoop. Alright, let's go check out the heritage room. I'm not even sure what some of this stuff is. How would you like to wash clothes in that? And check out these boots. That is gorgeous. That's a pretty place to get ready in the morning. And dolls. And cradle. This cradle is from the Star family, an immigrated in the late 1880s. Hey, recognize these. Victrola. This is actually the vintage type, not the remakes. More sewing machines. Radio. Hello, George Washington. Pretty little pram here. And just look at all these pretty antiques, household items. We've got an old stove here. Actually, we have a couple old stoves. Full kitchen range. I think that's a heater. My gosh. Welcome to the back room of essentially the garage of the El Cuartelejo Museum. Look at all these old tractors. Yeah, there's a ton. And then back here, we have wagons with a ton of barbed wire in this one. And I'm not even sure what that is, to be honest. Not sure at all. But all of these are old farm implements. And back here, this big guy is a combine. Like, check that out. Massive. But my favorite thing is over here. This beauty at the end is not a wagon. It is a school sleigh. Seriously, see if you guys can see the runners down here. Like, how cool is that? So, definitely love nerdy stuff, although, however, this is not my favorite thing in this museum. I will show you my favorite thing in this museum. Alrighty. Let's go see the rest. Okay, this is my favorite room. It's not even complete yet. So underneath all that plaster is the fossilized skeleton of a plesiosaur. This is what they were said to have looked like, and it was discovered about 18 miles west of here by a local fossil hunter and teacher. The skull of it is actually right over here. Whoop. As I try and drop things. Here's the skull. It again is in plaster. The project will be to excavate the skeleton, and it will be displayed here. So you'll have to come back once it is excavated and on display. Against this wall here, you can see the process of them discovering and wrapping the find to bring it here to be properly excavated. Yeah, I know this is so cool because plesiosaur skulls are not found, and plesiosaurs in general aren't found very often. So, total nerd moment. And then here's a draft of the bone map. There are still some vertebrae in the rock that they have to go excavate. And this is all that was a part of the original discovery. So this is so cool. This is what was found first, and they ended up finding a whole skeleton. So if you like paleontology, funny enough, middle of nowhere Kansas is where to come check out some really cool stuff between here and the Keystone Gallery. Hi. So this has been a wonderful museum. I do want to point out that the building that the El Cuartelejo Museum is in also has the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection. He is a living artist. I'm not going to take picture in there because it's not allowed, and his work can still be purchased. But it is a really cool museum and his work is fantastic. I also do want to point out that none of the artifacts that were recovered at the El Cuartelejo site are at this museum. When that site was discovered in the late 1800s, 1899, and then re-excavated in like 1930, all of those artifacts were sent to like Smithsonian's and bigger museums. So the history of it's here, but not the artifacts. Those you have to go elsewhere to find. Although I might try and figure out where some are. Anyway, this has been a fantastic museum. Alright, my apologies for the break there. This has been a fantastic museum and a fantastic day full of history from the prehistoric era to now. I highly recommend hanging out or coming to visit Scott City. Going north to the Keystone Gallery. From there you can go to Little Jerusalem State Park. You can also go to Monument Rocks. And if you come back farther closer towards Scott City, you can go to Scott Lake State Park, Scott City, the El Quartelejo Museum, and the Art Museum. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe. If you want a postcard, make sure to check out my Patreon, and I will see you on the next adventure.